think the first time we met was 18 months ago.
Yeah.
When you guys were coming through Canada for the very first time, you had the first album, and you were all excited to be on the other side of the planet and all the rest of it. That's been a long time. So what have you seen and done since? Difficult question, but what have you seen and done since?
It's been a bit of a blur. Well, we've made another album. We did that. We've seen a lot of things, I guess. We've seen all over the world.
We've seen, yeah, I mean, we've been to Europe. We've done a lot of Europe touring, a lot of UK stuff.
Yeah, a lot of UK, a lot of Europe. And look, mate, we've seen a lot of the insides of a bus and a lot of the insides of hotels and a lot of venues. We've driven past the Eiffel Tower about 6 times. Still haven't actually yet to go up and see the thing. It's, yeah, you know, we've been around.
So you've been living in this bubble for actually a couple of years now, I suppose. Any good road stories? We'll get to the new album because I do want to talk about that. But any good road stories? There has to be, when you're traveling around the world that much in a bus, going from rock and roll show to rock and roll show, weird stuff's got to happen.
Well, I guess one thing that comes to mind recently is we just, on the bus, there's
death.
9 of us.
Yeah,
the bus of death. We just had 7 of us just went down with some sort of serious bug that is only living on the bus.
And it just wipes you out.
Just wipes you out.
What's that movie, Event Horizon or something? One of those movies where there's just something living on the spacecraft and just kills everybody. It's like some alien or something like that, you know, it's just some psycho thing. It's like Sigourney Weaver that's on there now, just sorting it out.
Do I dare ask about the symptoms?
Oh, mate, it's just every hole in your body extinguishes everything that's in it. It's just like everything goes everywhere, and it's just like people wake up in their bunk as a blob of mess. It's just like, oh, geez, you got hit too. Yeah, it got me in the middle of the night. Fuck, you know.
Oh, I don't even want to think about the bathroom.
Yeah, it's not looking too good.
So have we exchanged buses, or are we still on the same bus?
Still on the same bus.
Same bus. Bus of death.
Did we shake hands?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. New album, No Guts, No Glory. Again, just a record filled with riffs. Now, I love riff-heavy guitar.
Oh, good.
Riff-heavy guitar rock. But I get worried sometimes that maybe we're running out of riffs. Where do you guys, I mean, rock and roll's been around for like 60 years. And everybody's been riffing ever since somebody decided to get fuzzy with an amplifier.
Yep.
Wow, where do you go? Where do you find them?
Well, mate, we've only really got 3 chords. You know, and it's and you know, there's a lot of riffs out there, and so you've got to create riffs, I guess, that haven't been created before. I think it's just, if you love playing rock and roll, you love doing it over and over again. It's just like when we did this album, we had something like riffs in total for this album. There would have been about, I don't know, 100 to 150 different sort of things going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
And so you just got to, but some of them, you know, oh, that sounds a bit like Voodoo Child, you know, so, or Purple Haze or something. And, or, you know, a riff will sound like another one. So you generally, you go, well, look, we can't use that one. It's been done. So, and, but it just comes down to the one you have most fun playing, I think.
There are about 5 guys over the course of the history of rock that have taken all the really good ones. I mean, Tommy Iommi, Angus Young, Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix. You know, they got there first to some of the best ones. So it's more challenging, I guess.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it is more challenging, but I mean, nothing like a good challenge.
So let's talk about the record. Where was it done? Who did you do it with? And what are your plans for it?
Well, basically, we did a lot of pre-production in 6 months in Australia.
Yep.
In the old pub we played our first shows at, in Warrnambool, which is our country town where we're from.
Just Warrnambool.
Warrnambool. The pub's now closed down, so we had that for ourselves, which was great to sort of source out. And
Wait a second, an Australian pub closed down? I've never heard of such a thing.
Oh, mate, it happens everywhere. It's been happening heaps lately. Like,
What, are you guys drinking less?
I don't know. It's like it's strange. It's just, it seems to be this strange thing where they keep shutting down pubs.
like old venues.
Like, you know how like your old favourite venue with an old, you know, when you could smoke in pubs, and it'd be all like, you know, the old stage, and it'd be all sort of grotty, and then they'd come in and change owners, they'd revamp the pub, and they go, oh, we can make more money if we just turn this into a cocktail bar, get rid of the stage, or just turn it into offices. It's about people buying the pub off the owner, and then changing it into something that's not a pub.
Or the owners or the owners of the building jacking up the rent so much that
That's the other thing too.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
It's the rent that's killing them, and that's what happened to a big pub in Australia called the Tote, which is in Melbourne.
Which was the government that raised. It said something about it being violent or something. It was never violent, and then they just raised the liquor licences and one of the most, like, you know how every city has a standalone rock pub.
Yep.
It was that, and it's just got closed down.
You know, we had exactly the same thing happen here this past weekend, where we had a big club down here, downtown, just this disgusting, filthy, horrible place where it's been around for 1 billion years. You would go there, see a band, a lot of metal bands would play there, a lot of bands with their first gigs there, and then 2, 3 o'clock in the morning you would stumble out and there'd be there's a sub place around the corner, coffee shop across the street where all the winos hung out, and a place where you get a slice of pizza. Yep. And they just jacked up the rent, couldn't afford it anymore, turning it into a furniture store.
You know, that's how it is. You know?
That's what's going on.
You got to stand up for rock and roll.
So let's go back to this this closed down pub where you were working on a record.
So we worked there, and that's where we played our first shows at. And from there we went to Chicago for 3 months and worked with Johnny Kay, who produced the album, at his studio, which is a huge 5-story big old brewery, which he craned a car to the top floor just so he could listen to music in a car without having to get in the elevator.
And in Chicago, they have this van that goes around with tourists in it. It's like a mobster tour, and every time they'd always drive past it at about like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They'd drive past and they'd be pointing at it. We never knew what they were pointing at. It could be, you know, John Dillinger's, you know, brewery, or it could have been Al Capone's whorehouse. It could have been anything.
You know what? I just saw Public Enemy a little while ago.
Yeah.
Maybe that was
filmed just before
we got
just before we got there. That was filmed, and we went and watched the movie. We were like, oh, because some of it was actually shot around where we were making the album. We're like, oh, that's just down the road. Except you can't see the 7-Eleven in the supermarket because it looks a little bit different now.
right.